I am literally staring at my television screen right now. I have paused the frame directly on RuPaul's face, and I am fundamentally questioning, like, everything I know about the laws of mathematics.
Oh, here we go.
No, I mean it. Reality television, basic human decency, it is all out the window. I cannot catch my breath.
You need to calm down before you hyperventilate.
The sheer audacity of that tie-breaking decision, the absolute unhinged, producer-orchestrated chaos of it all. Snark Squad, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and happy Pride, babes.
Happy Pride, everyone, and please take a long, deep sip of your drink before your blood pressure reaches, like, an actual medical crisis.
I am clutching my glass for dear life right now.
Good, because we have a lot to unpack, and if you short-circuit in the first 3 minutes, I am going to have to carry this entire show by myself.
Well, please, you love the sound of your own voice anyway. But Snark Squad, you already know the vibe. We have our frozen Aperol spritzes on deck, and babes, these continue to be the undefeated drink of the summer.
They really are. It is the only beverage appropriate for this level of television mess.
Exactly. It is giving icy, it is giving aggressively bitter, and it is giving just enough sweetness to keep you coming back for more, which honestly perfectly describes the psychological warfare we just witnessed on this week's episode.
Right, and let's establish a fundamental rule for the Snark Squad right out of the gate. If your Aperol Spritz is not at least 50% slush, you need to hand it back to the bartender.
Oh, literally throw it in the trash.
Seriously, if it's just lukewarm liquid floating over 2 sad melting ice cubes, you are participating in summer incorrectly. It needs to induce a mild brain freeze, or it isn't doing its job.
Period. We are sipping, we are cooling down our nervous systems, and we are vibrating at a completely different frequency right now because, babes, we are officially heading to New York Pride weekend.
I am exhausted just thinking about the logistics.
I have my bags packed by color. I have sourced industrial-grade glitter from a sustainable distributor, and I am ready to absolutely flood the streets of Manhattan with joy, noise, and entirely too much tulle.
See, the itinerary you forwarded to me reads less like a celebration and more like a tactical military operation, just heavily embellished with sequence.
Wait, sequence?
Yes. Before anyone corrects me, I said sequence, not sequence. Roxy Andrews laid the linguistic groundwork, and I am simply honoring her legacy.
I love that for you. But I am just completely ravenous for the fashion. Like, that is the beating heart of Pride for me.
The fashion is always a total spectacle.
Right. I want to see the most iconic, gravity-defying, logic-breaking outfits on the pavement. I want to see someone wearing nothing but strategically placed dental floss and unwavering confidence.
Next to someone suffocating in a 20-pound couture ball gown on a humid parade float, naturally.
Exactly. Pride is the one weekend a year where the entire city becomes a runway. Like, what are you hoping to witness?
Honestly, I want to see the kind of fashion that actively confronts the laws of physics.
Oh, I know you do.
I am talking architectural hair structures that require their own zip codes, platform boots that could double as medieval weaponry, and color combinations that visually assault the retinas in the most spectacular way possible.
Yes, and the queens, obviously.
Naturally, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for the queens.
If I am walking down Christopher Street and I see Morphine Love Dion, I will simply evaporate into the atmosphere. I will be gone. Or Dawn. Imagine turning a corner at a crowded party and seeing Dawn floating through the chaos like a shady, whimsical little woodland sprite. The energy would be immaculate.
I would personally love to run into Kennedy Davenport, strictly to shake her hand and thank her for the masterclass in television she just delivered to us.
Oh my God, yes.
But honestly, the magic of Pride is the confidence it injects into everyone. It is the one weekend a year where the societal contract of blending in is completely shredded. People are just allowed to exist in their most elevated, ridiculous forms.
Which brings me to the ultimate question. Okay. If money were a total illusion, if budget were just a concept of the past, what is the absolute fantasy look you were pulling out for the main event?
Oh, if the budget is limitless.
Limitless.
I am commissioning a custom, head-to-toe, Mugler-inspired armored corset.
Okay.
It will be entirely encrusted in black diamonds and raw amethyst and paired with a massive trailing cape constructed from ethically sourced raven feathers.
Wait, raven feathers?
It's giving dark, brooding villainy. It's giving do not speak to me unless you have an offering, but making it festive for the occasion.
Okay, wait, let's analyze the logistics of this for a second. Is that giving high fashion runway, or is that giving inevitable disaster?
Excuse me.
Because a trailing feather cape in a packed, sweaty New York City venue in late June, Within 20 minutes, you are going to be dragging those exquisite feathers through spilled vodka cranberries and unidentifiable sticky floor puddles. You are going to look like a swamp creature by last call.
You are failing to see the vision. If I have a limitless budget for the garment, I also have the budget for a dedicated personal assistant whose sole job is to walk 3 paces behind me, keeping the train elevated above the grime.
Oh, so you're hiring staff now.
Let me live my dramatic fantasy. What is your supposedly superior practical choice?
Oh, I am not being practical at all. I want a custom, holographic, laser-cut mirrored bodysuit that fractures the light like a walking disco ball.
Well, walking hazard to drivers, got it.
And to anchor it, thigh-high, clear platform boots that contain actual functioning aquariums in the heels. I want little neon tetras swimming around every time I take a step. It is camp, it is a logistical nightmare, it is arguably an animal rights violation, but I will be the brightest object in the tri-state area.
That sounds like a sensory overload hazard waiting to happen, but I fully endorse the commitment to the bit.
Thank you. Now, before we get into the absolute wreckage of the Drag Race workroom, we have some real-world wreckage to address.
Yes, we do.
We asked the Snark Squad to send in their most chaotic, messy, pride-themed personal stories, and the submissions were a goldmine of bad decisions.
A literal gold mine.
We are going to play a round of shady, snarky, or stupid. I will read 3 listener confessions and want to diagnose exactly what kind of mess we're dealing with.
Knowing the behavioral patterns of our listeners, I am bracing myself for a heavy leaning towards stupid. Let's hear the first one.
Okay, confession number 1. Last year at Pride, I found myself on a parade float standing right next to my ex-boyfriend's new best friend.
Oh, no.
We had a few too many frozen margaritas, the vibe was right, and we ended up hooking up in the VIP bathroom of a club later that evening.
In the bathroom?
The real kicker. I was wearing the custom leather harness my ex bought me for our 1-year anniversary. I didn't text him about it, but I definitely posted a mirror selfie in the harness the next day with the caption, "Strapped in for a wild ride."
Oh, the absolute layered chaos of this. Let's break this down piece by piece.
I am obsessed with this person. That is so incredibly shady.
Wait, you think that's shady?
Yes. You hooked up with his new best friend while wearing the anniversary gift he bought you. That is a level of intricate, petty revenge that requires a standing ovation. It is high-concept drama.
I am going to have to vehemently disagree with you. That is not shady. That is unequivocally, undeniably stupid.
How is this stupid?
First of all, hooking up in a VIP club bathroom is a bacterial nightmare that requires immediate medical attention.
Okay, valid point on the hygiene.
Secondly, you are intimately involving someone directly connected to your ex, which guarantees a massive unavoidable fallout within your shared social circle.
What's the drama?
And wearing the harness, you are literally leaving physical evidence at the scene of the crime. But the selfie is what pushes this over the edge.
The selfie was iconic.
It takes it from a messy, drunken mistake to a monumental public relations disaster. You didn't win the breakup, you just handed your ex the exact ammunition they need to call you unhinged in the group chat.
But the group chat is probably living for the entertainment. Yes, it's a little stupid logistically, but the sheer nerve of the Instagram caption, that is iconic behavior. It's shady with a capital S. I am giving this listener the shady crown.
You actively encourage the worst, most self-destructive instincts in our audience. Move on to the second confession before I lose my mind.
Fine. Confession number 2. I was at a completely packed lesbian bar during the Friday Pride kickoff, and the line for drinks was easily 45 minutes long.
Brutal.
This girl aggressively pushes her way to the very front, totally ignoring the line, and starts loudly ordering 6 complicated multi-step cocktails.
Oh, I hate her already.
I walked up, tapped her on the shoulder, and clearly said, "Excuse me, I know you think that mullet gives you a free pass to do whatever you want, but it's actually giving 1980s PE teacher in a deeply upsetting way, so please get to the back of the line."
Wow.
She turned bright red and just walked away without the drinks.
This is a fascinating study in social policing.
This is snarky. This is peak snarky. You read her for absolute filth, you weaponized her haircut against her, and you successfully defended the sacred social contract of the bar line. Justice was served swiftly and hilariously.
Let's look at the mechanics of the read, though. It's effective, yes, but it's actually shady, leaning toward unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
You didn't attack her behavior, you attacked her physical appearance. Mullets are a deeply entrenched sacred staple of queer culture right now.
She skipped a 45-minute line. She forfeited her right to a polite behavioral critique.
Skipping the line is a cardinal sin, I agree. But going after the haircut is a cheap shot. A truly snarky and much more powerful response would have been sliding a $20 bill across the bar to the bartender while maintaining eye contact with the line cutter and ordering your drink right over her mid-sentence.
Ooh, that is cold.
You establish dominance without resorting to insults about a haircut.
I see your point about the mechanics of a power move, but like the visual imagery of an upsetting 1980s PE teacher is just so specific and so devastatingly funny. I have to applaud the quick thinking.
It was descriptive, I'll give them that.
All right, let's look at the final submission, confession number 3. I was put in charge of booking a bottomless drag brunch for my friend group of 6 to celebrate Pride.
A heavy responsibility.
I was rushing and wasn't paying close attention to the event details, and I accidentally bought a VIP table for an event called Fancy Waffles and Family Values.
Oh, no.
It turned out to be an ultra-conservative traditional brunch hosted by a local politician who actively campaigns against queer rights.
I am sweating.
We showed up in full glitter, mesh crop tops, and rainbow flags. We sat down, ate our fancy waffles in absolute terrifying silence, while the entire room stared at us, and then we calmly left.
This is staggering. The layers of failure here are breathtaking.
This is the definition of stupid. How do you not read the Eventbrite description? How do you see the phrase family values in the month of June and not immediately hear klaxon alarms going off in your brain? You literally funded a politician who hates you.
See, this is where we fundamentally diverge, because I actually think this is brilliant.
Brilliant.
I think this transcends stupid and loops all the way back around the spectrum to become profoundly snarky.
How? How is accidentally putting money into a conservative campaign fund snarky?
I will grant you that the financial transaction was a catastrophic error, but we have to look at the execution of the aftermath.
Okay, explain.
The sheer, unbothered audacity to realize your mistake, refuse to retreat, and sit there in full, glittering pride regalia, taking up physical and visual space in a room specifically designed to exclude you. That is a silent protest. That is high-level performance art. The psychological warfare of 6 gay people aggressively and silently chewing waffles in a room full of terrified people in pastel polo shirts is legendary.
I guess when you put it like that.
They didn't just eat breakfast, they dominated the psychological landscape of that entire event.
Yeah. When you frame it like an avant-garde protest piece, it is kind of an iconic power move. But Snark Squad, I am begging you, please read the fine print next time. We cannot be accidentally subsidizing the enemy's waffle budget.
Agreed. Always verify the venue.
All right, because it is Pride weekend, we need to make sure the Snark Squad is not only looking good but spiritually aligned. We have consulted the cosmos, and we have your official Pride horoscopes.
Let's get into the zodiac. Let's start with Aries.
Oh boy.
Aries. This weekend, you are going to be an absolute menace on the dance floor. Your fiery confidence is operating at maximum capacity, which is beautiful, but please remember that spatial awareness is key.
Yes. Go watch your elbows.
Exactly. Not everyone wants to be aggressively dipped during a high BPM remix of a Charlie XCX song. Harness your fire, but for the love of God, keep your limbs to yourself in crowded spaces.
We adore the enthusiasm, Aries, but we would like to keep our dental work intact. Moving on to Taurus.
The material girls.
Babes, we already know the truth. Your glitter and apparel budget for this weekend rivaled the GDP of a small European nation. You are going to look incredibly expensive, luxurious, and stunning. But your lesson this weekend is letting go of control. It is okay if your perfectly curated, color-blocked outfit gets a little messy. Embrace the chaos. Let a cute stranger buy you a drink. And please, take off the uncomfortable designer shoes before you get blisters that require medical intervention.
Solid advice. Gemini, your forecast is incredibly simple. You are going to flirt with absolutely every breathing human being you encounter, and you are going to mean absolutely none of it.
So true. Just collecting numbers.
Like they are rare Pokemon cards. Your authentic self this weekend is a charming, chaotic blur. Just try to retain at least 3 names in your short-term memory by Sunday morning so you don't look entirely sociopathic.
Cancer. My sweet, deeply feeling water signs. Listen to me. You are going to end up crying in the VIP section, or on a street corner, or in a bodega, and that is perfectly okay.
It's inevitable.
It will be a beautiful, cathartic cry.
Yeah.
You will hear a specific Lady Gaga bridge that reminds you of your found family, and the waterworks will commence. Invest in a high-quality, waterproof mascara, lean into the emotions, and let your friends hold you. Your vulnerability is your ultimate superpower this weekend.
Leo. We don't even need to advise you to embrace your main character syndrome because you already have a metaphorical wind machine following you everywhere you walk.
Always.
You are naturally going to be the center of attention, but your challenge this pride is to be a reflector. Take that massive spotlight that naturally finds you and angle it towards someone in your group who might be experiencing their very first pride and feeling overwhelmed. Share the stage and your personal glow will actually multiply.
I love that. Okay, Virgo, I need you to put the color-coded spreadsheet down. I repeat, put the laminated parade itinerary away.
They literally cannot help themselves.
You cannot schedule spontaneous queer joy down to 15-minute increments. Your specific challenge this weekend is to wander aimlessly. Go to a party you did not formally RSVP to. Talk to someone completely outside your curated social circle. Let the universe dictate your schedule for 48 hours. You will not spontaneously combust, I promise you.
Libra, I am speaking to you with immense urgency. Please, just pick an outfit.
Seriously, pick one.
You have been staring at your open closet for 3 consecutive days, weighing the pros and cons of garments. Both the sheer mesh top and the sequin blazer look fantastic. Flip a coin, commit to the decision, and get out the door. Your relentless indecision is cutting into valuable, non-refundable dancing time.
Scorpio, you dark, mysterious, brooding creatures of the night. We know your comfort zone is a dimly lit corner booth where you can have an intense, penetrating conversation about the futility of existence.
Hear that?
But pride is actively dragging you out into the sunshine. Wear a bright color, even if it is just a very dark, menacing shade of plum, and allow yourself to experience the loud, abrasive, sweaty joy of the parade route. You can go back to being mysterious and unapproachable on Monday morning.
Sagittarius. The cosmos indicate a high probability that you will miss your flight, lose your phone in the back of the cab, or completely forget what hotel you're staying in.
Obviously par for the course.
But you absolutely will not care because you will be having the time of your life befriending a group of bachelorettes. Your chaotic energy is deeply infectious, but please, designate a responsible earth sign in your group to hold on to your physical wallet.
Capricorn babes, we see what you are doing, and we need you to stop.
Okay.
We know you're out here trying to stealthily network at Pride events.
Handing out resumes at the DJ booth.
Literally handing out sleek, embossed business cards while a drag queen is mid-death drop. Stop it. Put your LinkedIn profile on private mode for the weekend. Connect with people soul to soul, not professional to professional. Let your hair down and just be a messy human being for once.
Aquarius, you are going to wear an ensemble that is completely confusing, highly conceptual, and undeniably fierce.
Like an alien from the future.
Exactly. People will approach you to ask what your outfit signifies, and you will give them a different, deeply philosophical, entirely fabricated answer every single time. Keep them completely off balance. Your authenticity lies entirely in your refusal to be easily categorized.
And finally, Pisces. You are going to fall completely, deeply, and irrevocably in love with a drag queen who hands you a promotional flyer on the sidewalk.
Delusion at its finest.
It will be a fleeting romance built entirely in your own head. It is a beautiful delusion and is the exact kind of whimsical magic you deserve this weekend. Keep your heart wide open and keep a stack of single-dollar bills ready for tipping.
A beautiful, highly volatile forecast for everyone. Proceed with caution and hydration.
But babes,
Yeah.
enough about our lives. Enough about the stars. Let's get to these queens because they always know how to put on a show. And honestly, I need to talk about Bracket 3 immediately before I spontaneously combust.
Let's get into the architecture of this madness. All Stars, Season 11, Episode 9, that's what she said. This is the dramatic, highly anticipated conclusion to Bracket 3.
And we cannot even begin to talk about the challenge until we dissect the backstage MVQ point drama. Because the strategy, the calculated math, and the sheer breathtaking delusion that unfolded around those makeup mirrors requires, like, a deep psychological evaluation.
The art of the hustle. Let's set the scene and remind everyone of the stakes. This season's format is entirely based on points. You win a challenge, you get points. But the queens also vote to give an additional most valuable queen point to one of their peers. Whoever has the most points at the end of this episode moves on to the merge. Kennedy is sitting comfortably in the lead. She is resting on her laurels. She is confident. She knows she has a buffer.
Mother was unbothered.
Completely. Then we pan over to Jasmine Kennedy, and Jasmine is crying. She's doing the absolute most, giving us a daytime soap opera monologue about how hard it is to not be in the top, crying that if she doesn't get an MVQ point this week, she's mathematically doomed.
It was a terrifyingly brilliant masterclass in emotional manipulation.
Brilliant. Let's look at the game theory here. Jasmine knows exactly what she's doing. She leverages the crying victim narrative to soften everyone's defenses. She makes them view her not as a threat, but as a charity case.
Exactly.
And then, once their guard is down, she goes in for the kill. But to fully appreciate Jasmine's ruthless genius, we have to talk about the naive, foolish, borderline offensive gameplay of Suga Kane and Joey J.
Oh, Suga.
Because I have never, in the history of this franchise, seen someone fumble a strategic advantage quite like Suga did in that moment.
My sweet, beautiful, frustrating Suga. She gave her point to Jasmine the previous week, hoping for fairness. She literally sat there in her confessional and said, I feel like Suga is a fair person. She's going to want to give me a point back.
Babes! This is All Stars.
Fairness packed its bags, called an Uber, and went home during season 2. You cannot barter with kindness in a room full of drag queens fighting for a crown.
I was physically yelling at my television monitor. Suga literally verbalized her own downfall.
Sure.
She said, I want to stick to what I believe in, so I'm going to give this to you. I'm a woman of my word, which is stupid.
Yes, Suga, it is monumentally stupid.
Let's break down the underlying logic. This is a competition for $200,000 and a permanent spot in the Drag Race Hall of Fame. Nice guys don't just finish last, they become collateral damage.
Right.
Suga and Joey J had a clear mathematical path. They could have formed a locked alliance, swapped points with each other exclusively, elevated their own standings, and completely blocked Jasmine and Sam from gaining any advantage.
But they didn't.
Instead, Suga is trying to run a cooperative organic farm, while Jasmine is strip mining the land for coal. You handed your opponents the exact weapons they used to eliminate you.
I was spiraling because Sam and Jasmine played the other girls so beautifully. It was like watching a heist movie. Jasmine convinces Joey and Hershey to pool their points together, to tie her with Sam.
The audacity.
She looks them dead in the eye, shakes their hand, secures the alliance, and hoards their points. And then, when it's time for Jasmine to vote, what does she do?
Oh, we know what she does.
She takes her point and tosses it to Hershey, just to mathematically screw over Sam and guarantee the tie for herself.
It was cutthroat, calculated, sociopathic gameplay, and it was glorious to watch. But the narrative dissonance happens the next morning. Suga has the unmitigated nerve to sit in the workroom and complain about being made a villain.
Oh my God, the delusion.
She says, I felt like I was taken advantage of. Suga, nobody took advantage of you. They simply played the game that you explicitly refused to play.
So true.
Complaining about the outcome afterward is peak delusion. You cannot be angry at a shark for acting like a shark when you are the one who jumped into the tank covered in chum.
Jasmine literally summarized the entire situation flawlessly. She looked around and said, at the end of the trading day, it doesn't matter. Welcome to the sailing race. This is how this happens. And she's entirely right.
She clocked it.
I lived for the drama of it all, but it also broke my heart for Joey, because Joey is just sitting there getting edged out of the competition week after week. But we'll get to Joey's robbery in a minute. We need to dissect this maxi challenge, because it was a beast.
The challenge was the RuPaul Show 90s Vault. For the first time in Drag Race Her Story, production unlocked the vault to RuPaul's old VH1 late-night talk show.
Conceptually terrifying.
Exactly. The queens had to recreate classic spoken-word interviews, but the catch, they had to play both RuPaul and the celebrity guests simultaneously. They had to lip-sync to a spliced, rapidly cutting audio track of both voices.
Let's explain why this is so insanely difficult for the listeners. It's basically Snatch Game, but you have no control over the dialogue because it's pre-recorded audio.
Right.
And it's a lip sync, but there's no music to hide behind. You have to nail the exact cadence of normal human speech while doing two characters at once, switching physicalities, mannerisms, and comedic timing in a split second every time the audio cuts.
It is a monumental, punishing task.
And we have to start with the queen, who absolutely demolished the entire set. Kennedy Davenport as Eartha Kitt. I am fundamentally obsessed.
Kennedy was an absolute revelation. We all know she is a legendary lip-sync assassin when it comes to high-energy dance tracks, but her comedic timing and microscopic attention to detail with spoken word is unmatched.
Unmatched.
Eartha Kitt is a massive, idiosyncratic personality. The purring, the deliberate, agonizingly long pauses, the manic, unpredictable energy. Kennedy nailed every single vocal inflection with her mouth, but more importantly, she matched it with her body.
When she hit that line, and she just started talking, and then suddenly pulled out the yarn and the knitting needles from nowhere and just fell asleep mid-sentence as Eartha.
I was crying.
I was cackling at the top of my lungs. It was pure physical comedy gold. She took an audio track that didn't have inherent built-in punchlines and created a full visual narrative out of thin air.
And then when the track cut to her playing RuPaul...
Oh my God, the head rolls, the neck snapping, the exaggerated tongue licking. It was so manic and ridiculous. LaRoche was literally on the judging panel, wiping tears away from his eyes because he was laughing so hard.
If you look at the broader discourse and the Reddit reactions, people were universally declaring Kennedy's performance as absolute star-making television. And for the few contrarians claiming she was doing too much, they clearly haven't done their historical research.
They need to watch the tape.
Eartha Kitt literally started that VH1 interview by purring at the camera with go-go dancers undulating in the background. It was inherently meant to be over the top. Kennedy understood the assignment on a molecular level.
She fully automated her way to the semifinals in those 3 minutes. She could have walked off the stage right then. But let's look at the other side of the top two. Sam Starr playing Anna Nicole Smith.
Sam perfectly captured the Anna Nicole aesthetic. She nailed the Marilyn Monroe-esque vulnerability, the breathy, delayed vocal delivery, the slightly vacant but incredibly endearing physical mannerisms.
Sure, it was clean.
It was a very clean, pageant-perfect, mathematically precise execution of the character illusion.
Okay, here is where I am going to push back on you, because I think you are looking at this purely as a technical exercise.
Well, it is one.
Yes, the Anna Nicole side of the performance was good. It was visually spot on.
Right.
But wasn't her RuPaul just Sam being Sam?
I mean...
When the track switched to Ru, I didn't see RuPaul's posture or facial expressions. I just saw Sam in a nice suit doing Sam's usual polished body language. It felt completely one note on the Ru side. Was she just pushed through to the top two because she's Trinidad Samo? The Tuck's drag daughter in production inherently favors that polished, highly funded pageant style?
I see the nepotism argument that the fandom is aggressively throwing around online. But let's look at it objectively, analyzing what RuPaul values.
Don't you just what?
Sam brings a level of undeniable, frictionless polish. Ru appreciates someone who knows how to get the job done cleanly without making the judges nervous. Was her RuPaul the most inventive interpretation we've ever seen? No.
Exactly.
But her Anna Nicole was so gravitationally strong, so visually accurate, that it successfully anchored the entire performance. It wasn't the most chaotic or unique, but it was incredibly effective.
I suppose effective is the word. But if we're talking about effective performances, we need to talk about the absolute robbery that occurred on that stage.
Oh, Joey.
I am furious. I am physically furious on behalf of Joey J. Joey had B. Arthur, an absolute Golden Girls titan. And Joey had the tightest, most mechanically flawless lip sync of the entire night. Not a single syllable, not a single breath was missed.
I will readily concede that Joey's B. Arthur illusion was a 10 out of 10 execution. The deadpan delivery, the weary exasperation, the withering stares, it was all perfectly calibrated.
And the height gag. We have to talk about the genius of the height gag.
That was smart.
Joey realized that B. Arthur is a notoriously tall woman, but RuPaul, in drag, is even taller. So how do you convey that scale when playing both? Joey did the entire B. Arthur character while standing on her knees, just to visually force herself to be shorter than her RuPaul character.
It showed a director's mindset.
That is brilliant, high-level physical comedy, and she got paid absolute dust by the judges.
The height gag was undeniably clever, but here is the cold, analytical truth of the matter. Joey's B. Arthur was fantastic, yes. But her RuPaul impression was painfully safe.
Safe.
It was bland, middle-of-the-road compliance compared to the absolute manic insanity that Kennedy was delivering. Joey's consistent, she is professional, she hits her marks. But in All Stars, safe and consistent doesn't win you a crown. She lacked that jagged, chaotic edge that makes for viral television moments.
But she has been edged out by the judges for 3 weeks straight. She has received 0 wins despite delivering stellar, meticulous performances every single week. It just feels like a pre-written narrative to me.
Well, reality TV is produced.
True. But speaking of lacking an edge, we unfortunately have to discuss Sugar Cane's attempt at Cher.
It was a total, unmitigated flop. There is no strategic way to defend this.
It is painful.
Suga's Cher was flat and uninspired, but her RuPaul was the real disaster of the segment. She made the inexplicable creative decision to play RuPaul as a clueless 1990s Valley girl.
I just didn't understand the choice.
It was completely divorced from the source material. It made no logical sense, and frankly, it was deeply uncomfortable to watch.
It was agonizing. You could physically see the gears turning in her head. You could see her overthinking every single twitch and movement. The illusion just never materialized.
It really didn't.
And then we had Hershey Le Courgeday as the legendary Patti LaBelle. Now, I actually really enjoyed Hershey. The sweeping hand motions, the physical comedy of randomly pulling out a notepad and pen to aggressively take notes as Patty, I thought it was incredibly charming.
It was conceptually cute, but the technical execution of the lip sync was undeniably sloppy. The Patti LaBelle side was adequate, but when she switched to RuPaul, the performance derailed.
The laugh.
Yes, the RuPaul laugh on the audio track is very specific, and Hirsch's physical mimicking of that laugh was completely unhinged and totally off rhythm. In a spoken word lip sync, the illusion is fragile. If you miss the rhythm of a laugh or a sharp intake of breath by even a fraction of a second, the illusion completely shatters. Hershey broke the glass.
That's entirely true. The laugh looked a little demonic, I will not lie. And finally, Jasmine Kennedy taking on Tammy Faye Baker.
I will argue that Jasmine was highly underrated by the judging panel in this challenge.
Really? You think so?
Yes. Tammy Faye Baker, as a cultural figure, is all about hyper-emotional, tear-stained, exaggerated camp. Jasmine channeled that unhinged, crying energy perfectly.
The Canal Street joke.
Exactly. The specific joke about buying the suit on Canal Street in Chinatown for $60. She acted the physical comedy of that out flawlessly, and she leaned into the caricature with those massive, clumpy, spider leg eyelashes.
She fully committed to the messiness of Tammy Faye, and it worked. So the dust settles, and the judges name Kennedy and Sam as the top two of the week. They have to battle it out in the lip sync to Rihanna's Breakin Dishes.
And Kennedy wins her second lip sync in a row, which should surprise absolutely no one with functioning eyes.
Period.
Kennedy is a legendary stage performer. She secures the extra point, boosting her total to 7 points, completely locking in her spot in the semifinals with absolute mathematical certainty.
But then, the twist. The narrative whiplash. Because of Jasmine's devious backstage machinations during the point ceremony, Sam and Jasmine are mathematically tied at 6 points for second place.
Here comes the riggery.
And instead of implementing a tiebreaker, instead of forcing the queens to vote or making a hard executive decision, RuPaul just stands there and declares, the tie will not be broken, you are both moving forward to the semifinals.
Which completely, fundamentally undermines the entire established structural format of the season.
I was screaming at the television, how is that remotely fair? How is that fair to Morgan McMichaels from Bracket 1?
It isn't.
Morgan won TWO actual maxi challenges in her bracket, ended up in a tie, and RuPaul explicitly forced a tie-break scenario that resulted in Morgan getting eliminated. But here, in Bracket 3, Jasmine doesn't win a single challenge the entire time, engineers a fake math tie through alliances, and Ru just waves a magic producer wand and lets them both through. Make the logic make sense.
You are searching for logic in a place where only ratings exist.
I guess I am.
It doesn't make sense mathematically, and it doesn't make sense competitively. But it makes perfect, pristine sense from a television production standpoint. The show doesn't even pretend to follow its own rulebook anymore. They clearly desire distinct narrative varieties in the outcomes of these brackets.
What do you mean?
Bracket 1 gave us the shock value of an unexpected tie-break elimination. Bracket 2 gave us a nail-biter point ceremony that teased a shift but ultimately held the status quo. And Bracket 3 gives us the benevolent double save.
Oof, so cynical.
It is highly cynical, but we have to remember they are producing a reality TV soap opera, not officiating a sanctioned Olympic sporting event. They want Jasmine in the semifinals because Jasmine is a volatile catalyst for drama, and they want Sam because she provides the high-end, polished runway visuals.
It just makes the entire points currency system feel like a polite suggestion rather than a governing rule. And it is a massive slap in the face to Morgan's track record. But then, to pour salt on the wound, we get the comeback queen cliffhanger. Ru and Michelle announce they are picking a wild card. The choices are Morgan McMichaels, Selena Estides, and Joey J.
And then?
Asaf, the pit crew member, reaches his hand into the tumbler to pull the name, and the screen cuts to black. The episode ends. They didn't even show us the name. I am losing my mind.
It is the oldest trick in the reality television playbook. They purposefully obscured the draw so they could retreat to the editing bay, gauge the temperature of the audience reaction over the course of the 3 brackets, and ensure they magically pull whichever name generates the maximum amount of friction for the merge episode.
You really think it's rigged?
If you genuinely believe that was a random, unmanipulated draw governed by chance, you are as tragically naive as Suga Kane giving away her MVQ point.
You are so deeply cynical. But I know deep down you are probably right.
Let's take a breath and transition to the main stage, because despite the rigged mathematics of it all, the fashion presented this week was actually incredible. Let's evaluate the runway. Segment 1, Runway Royalty. The category was David Bowie.
Icon. And with Bronwyn Newport from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City sitting on the judging panel.
Exactly. The expectations for eccentric wealth, high fashion, and visual storytelling were exceptionally high.
Yes. Okay, let's start with the best runway of the night. I am going to aggressively and passionately defend Kennedy Davenport's look here.
Interesting choice.
She delivered a reimagined Labyrinth meets Tina Turner Bowie concept, and it was so intellectually smart. It wasn't just a lazy copy-paste replica of a famous Bowie outfit. She took the core essence of the Goblin King, infused it with Tina Turner's kinetic energy and hair, and translated it entirely into her own specific brand of drag. It was clever, the tailoring was impeccable, and it felt so uniquely Kennedy, while still honoring the prompt.
I will award Kennedy points for conceptual creativity, but I am throwing massive shade at that choice for best runway.
Okay.
It was visually muddy. The narrative of the garment was confusing. The true, undeniable best runway goes to Sam Starr. She served classic Ziggy Stardust, but she elevated the concept by pairing it with that massive, sweeping Elvis-style cape adorned with her own name.
Okay, it was nice.
It was the absolute cleanest, most pageant-perfect, technically flawless execution of a reference on that stage. It wasn't just a costume bought off a rack. It was a flawlessly tailored garment that respected the historical source material while screaming high-end drag.
Fine, I will admit the tailoring was polished, but it was safe.
Right.
It was expected. Kennedy actually took a creative risk.
Safe wins sometimes.
But let's pivot to the most underrated runway of the night, because I think we actually have a consensus on this one.
We do. Jasmine Kennedy was criminally under-discussed and overlooked by the judges. She took the classic David Bowie aesthetic and expertly modernized it into a current, hyper-relevant drag interpretation.
Bell bottoms. Can we talk about the bell bottom?
Flawless.
The fit and flare of those pants were absolutely sickening. It was heavily referencing 1970s glam rock, but the cut and the styling updated it for a 2026 runway. The hair was massive, the makeup was sharp. It was a totally cohesive fashion statement, and the judges barely even acknowledged the level of taste she displayed.
Entirely agreed. Now let's bring this back to reality. Which look are you physically putting on your body, assuming you aren't wearing your aquarium boots to the club?
I am stealing Joey J's Glass Spider Tour look immediately. The sleek black ensemble, the hair, and those massive, menacing, extended spider legs acting as wings.
I can see you in that.
I would wear that to a pride party tonight. I would knock over everyone's drinks with my wingspan, I would take up half the dance floor, and I would not apologize for a single second of it.
Yeah.
It was incredibly fun, it was edgy, and it was a deep-cut Bowie reference that proved Joey actually did her homework and didn't just Google Bowie lightning bolt. What about you?
Honestly, I would wear Sam's Ziggy Stardust catsuit. I would discard the cape, obviously, for practical mobility reasons. But the catsuit itself, it is incredibly chic. It is tailored within an inch of its life. And wearing a one-legged catsuit is an aggressive, undeniable power move. It demands attention.
It really does.
But let's discuss the other end of the spectrum. What look is going straight into the incinerator? What would you absolutely never wear?
For me, it has to be Sugar Cane's look. It just felt very literal. It looked like a very expensive Halloween costume version of David Bowie rather than an elevated drag interpretation. It lacked a unique point of view.
I am going to violently and unapologetically reject Hershey's look.
Oh, the banana coat.
She attempted this bizarre Pomodoro banana-colored coat situation. Was the physical tailoring of the garment adequate? Sure. But visually and conceptually, it completely missed the mark.
It was a choice.
It didn't scream David Bowie rock god to me. It screamed confused citrus fruit. The technical execution of the sewing was fine, but the conceptual design was a total unmitigated misfire. I wouldn't wear it even if I were trying to actively camouflage myself in the produce aisle of a grocery store.
A confused citrus fruit. I am laughing so hard. Okay, moving on to segment 2. Who stole the episode? When we evaluate who really walked away with this episode, we have to look at the overall impact. Let's break down who completely owned the narrative and who faded into the background.
Kennedy Davenport completely, unequivocally, and undeniably stole the episode.
Without a doubt.
From the very minute she sat down at the makeup mirrors and silently watched the other girls fight over alliances, to pulling out the yarn as Eartha Kitt, to winning a high-energy lip-sync to a Rihanna song while wearing a heavy, restrictive gown.
Iconic behavior.
She automated her way to the semifinals, she won the challenge, and she proved exactly why she is a seasoned, untouchable drag legend. She didn't need to engage in the messy backstage politics because her raw talent secured her position.
She really did. She just sat there with this serene look on her face like, you girls go play in the sandbox. I'm going to go win a television show. It was ultimate mother behavior. But on the flip side, we have to talk about the collateral damage. And I tearfully have to admit that Sugar Cane completely faded into the background. It hurts my heart because I love her drag, but she just got steamrolled by the format.
She was a complete non-entity in the narrative. Her Cher was flat, her RuPaul was a cringy, historically inaccurate Valley Girl disaster, and most importantly, she got totally and ruthlessly outplayed in the strategic points game by Jasmine and Sam.
It's true.
She walked into this episode with a mathematical chance to strategize, and she chose to be a martyr for the concept of fairness. In reality TV, the martyr never wins the crown. They just get a nice, softly light confessional interview before they pack their bags. She faded because she refused to participate in the game she explicitly signed up for.
It is the harsh truth. The nice guys finish last when the cameras are rolling. All right, segment 3, Snatch or Scratch. We need to snatch the best and scratch the worst moments of the night.
Let's do it.
Let's dive into the funniest moment, the biggest flop, and the shadiest read. What is your absolute snatch for a funniest moment?
We have praised it endlessly, but it demands repeating. Kennedy Davenport as Eartha Kitt, looking deadpan into the camera lens, delivering the line, and she just started talking. Manifesting knitting yarn out of thin air and immediately falling into a deep slumber.
So good.
It is pure, unadulterated physical comedy gold. It was the only time I audibly laughed out loud at my television during the entire challenge runtime.
It was masterfully done. My scratch, representing the absolute biggest flop of the night, honestly, it is the blatant production favoritism. That is the massive flop.
Oh, absolutely.
The fact that Joey J was strung along and edged for 3 consecutive weeks, received 0 challenge wins, despite delivering stellar, highly competent performances every single week, and was completely ignored by the judges, it is a structural flop on the show's part.
It's frustrating to watch.
They played in her face, they utilized her for consistent, solid television, and they never rewarded her efforts. It leaves a very bad, very produced taste in my mouth.
I agree. The heavy-handed narrative manipulation was a glaring scratch. But my snatch, for the shadiest read of the entire episode, goes entirely to Jasmine Kennedy playing the ultimate Machiavellian villain during the MVQ points ceremony.
The silent read.
And the brilliant part, it wasn't even a verbal read. It was a silent, strategic assassination. She looked Joey and Hershey in the eyes, promised them a rock-solid alliance to secure a tie, collected their points to protect her own standing, and then deliberately gave her point to Hershey solely to mathematically sabotage Sam.
Evil genius.
It was ruthless, it was incredibly messy, and I absolutely lived for every single second of that strategic maneuvering. She read the entire room's psychology and manipulated them perfectly.
It was so devious. She is incredibly lucky RuPaul saved both of them, because if that plan had backfired, she would have been public enemy #1 in that workroom. Okay, looking ahead, things are getting incredibly serious. Segment 4, Crown Watch.
Context for the Snark Squad. Next week, the isolated brackets merge into one unified competition. We are officially entering the semifinals. We have A'keria, Dawn, Crystal, Silky, Kennedy, Sam, Jasmine, and one yet-to-be-revealed wild card returning to the game.
The tension is real.
The points reset, the alliances fracture, and the bloodbath officially begins.
It is going to be a complete bloodbath.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give my 3 predictions for how this merge plays out, and then you give yours.
Let's hear them.
Number 1. Crystal Method takes that weird, chaotic, undefinable energy she cultivated in Bracket 2 straight to the finale. The judges clearly love her quirkiness, and in a merged room full of serious pageant queens, her weirdness becomes a massive asset.
Plausible.
Number 2, Jasmine Kennedy causes a massive screaming argument in the workroom over past points or broken alliances within the first 10 minutes of the merge. She's a natural pot stirrer, and with massive personalities like Silky and A'keria entering the room, the fireworks are an absolute inevitability.
I can certainly visualize Jasmine igniting a powder keg very early on. What is your bold, ridiculous prediction that might actually happen?
My bold prediction. Joey J comes back as the wild card. She slays the snatch game. She delivers the best runway look of her life. She gives a career-defining performance. And the judges still put her in the bottom just to play in her face one last time.
Wow.
They're going to edge her right out of the building just for the psychological torture of it all.
That is painfully, devastatingly realistic, honestly. The show loves to construct a tragedy. All right, my 3 analytical predictions. Number 1, Kennedy Davenport is currently receiving the undeniable, heavily armored winner's edit.
Totally agree.
She's performing at a technical level that completely transcends the produced workroom drama. She is the definitive frontrunner. Number 2, Sam Starr is going to stumble hard.
Oh.
The minute production throws a challenge at her where she cannot rely on a clean, highly funded pageant-style runway or a polished, pre-planned character, for example, a messy improv challenge, she is going to falter. Her armor is too rigid and she lacks adaptability.
Oh, that is a harsh, biting read. But looking at her track record, you might be entirely right. What is your bold prediction?
My bold, ridiculous prediction: Morgan McMichaels returns as the wild card. She walks into that merged workroom and embarks on a complete, unhinged, scorched earth revenge tour against absolutely everyone who voted her out or crossed her during bracket 1.
Oh my God, I need that to happen.
She creates so much localized chaos and toxicity that it results in a double elimination just for production to restore peace and order to the set.
A Morgan McMichaels scorched earth revenge tour. I would pay premium pay-per-view cable prices to watch that unfold. But I have to vehemently disagree with you on your frontrunner assessment.
Really?
Yes, Kennedy is amazing, but you absolutely cannot count out Silky Nutmeg Ganache now that the brackets are merging.
Oh.
Silky has the sheer force of personality to bulldoze right to the top, and if she aligns strategically with Akira, the Davenport-Ganache alliance will be an unstoppable voting bloc.
Silky is a formidable television presence, yes, but she frequently lets her emotions dictate her strategy. Kennedy operates with cold, calculated perfection. The merge is going to ruthlessly expose the queens who rely on personality over technical execution.
We will see. We will see. The collision of these 3 brackets is going to be reality television history.
Indeed it will. And that brings us to the end of our analysis, but I want to leave the Snark Squad with a final, highly provocative thought to carry with you.
Yes, give it to them.
We just watched RuPaul completely ignore the show's own established tie-breaking precedent tonight, purely to push both Sam and Jasmine forward for narrative purposes. If the foundational rules of the competition are this malleable, this easily discarded the moment they no longer serve a producer's storyline, does winning a bracket even mean anything anymore?
That is the question.
Or is this franchise no longer a competition at all? Are we just watching a fully scripted soap opera where the points are an illusion and the producers are the only real judges? Mull that over as you finish your April.
Ooh, that is a heavy existential question. Are we literally just watching a very glamorous, highly choreographed WWE match in heels? I need to know what you all think. Snark Squad, it is your turn to sound off.
Hop into the comments.
Yes, jump in the Discord, slide into our DMs. We demand answers. First, what is the absolute best, most chaotic Pride outfit you have ever worn? We want photographic evidence.
Please, we need to judge your fashion.
Second, which of those 3 listener confessions was the absolute messiest? Are you Team X's harness, Team Mullet Reed, or Team Conservative Waffles?
Team Waffles, obviously.
And finally, who were you rooting for to win this whole entire rigged, beautiful, messy competition?
We want to read all of your unfiltered, highly opinionated thoughts. And if you enjoyed dissecting the chaos with us today, do us a favor.
Yes. Thank you, Snark Squad, for sipping cocktails, judging outfits, and absolutely losing your minds with us. You are the best besties a show could ask for. Please remember to subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review. Only 5 stars. We actively reject constructive criticism. And share this show with another fabulous babe in your life who desperately needs a laugh today.
Have a safe, spectacular, and properly hydrated Pride weekend.
We love you. Stay proud, stay fabulous, and we'll see you on the Snark side.